So, for the first one is the National Museum of the Philippines, and it was located at the Padre Burgos, Manila. If you will be able to go to school like De La Salle University, you can see the National Museum around there. Actually, it was near La Salle. Last year, I went to La Salle to visit some friends and saw this National Museum. It was actually big, a big museum, and a lot of people were there to visit this historical place in Manila. If we do have time or capability to go there like today or this time, I would actually want to go to this place. But sadly, it was pandemic right now, so we can't go there like physically or face to face. But it's virtual. It's a virtual tour. So, National Museum, it is called as Pambansang Museo ng Pilipinas in Tagalog, an umbrella government organization that oversees a number of national museums in the Philippines. It is including ethnographic, anthropological, and archaeological and visual art collections. Since 1998, the National Museum has been the regulatory and enforcement agency of the government of the Philippines in safeguarding of important cultural properties, sites, preservation throughout the Philippines. Spoilerium. It was painted by Juan Luna in 19th century. Spoilerium is the Latin word referring to the basement of the Roman Colosseum. The, the Spoilerium is the most valuable oil canvas painting by Juan Luna. It symbolizes the defeat of two fallen gladiators being dragged into the Spoilerium. Spoilerium is the kind of painting that lent itself to the patriotic needs of the Filipino, on which Rizal and others projected a nationalistic symbolism that helped to the Filipinos to rise up against the political oppression. So for this slideshow, it is the inside shot of the National Museum. I asked my friend to take pictures of the National Museum last time, so I can show you some pictures of what it looked like inside. Since we haven't been here before, or a lot of us haven't been here before, so we don't know what it really looks like, what kind of layout does this National Museum has. Based on my observation, this National Museum design is actually very classy. It's a delicate one. It usually has the high ceiling. If you take a look at my pictures above, look at the ceilings and the design inside. It's kinda beautiful to visit. So someday I hope we can visit this National Museum if we have time or if the pandemic ends. So for the next one is the Borosin Church. So it is located in Malolos, Bulacan. So as a Bulacanyo, we all know the significance of this church. Why was the first Congress was held here and when it was. So if you take a look at the first picture or second rather, it is a museum outside or at the back of the church. So you can see a lot of things there, the history, the history of Baraswain. So a little background of Borosin Church is it is derived from a place in Spain to which the missionaries found a place in Malolos in striking similarity. When the Spanish-Filipino Revolution broke out, the revolutionaries coined the term Baras ng Suwail, meaning dungeon of the defiant. So the structure of the Borosin Church is also renowned for its architectural design and internal adornments. The church attracts and engages visitors because of the curved facade, rose windows, and medieval bell tower. Its floral motifs and paintings of angels and saints along the ceiling adorn the interior of the church. For the vicinity of Borosin Church, the church consists of two structures, the church and adjoining convent, while the left outside of the church is the medieval bell tower, the entrance of which bamboo arcs linings and its sides are rose windows. Its architectural design is simple, however, it has paintings in its ceiling and domes, which make it look bigger than its actual size. For its museum, I really don't have any idea about this since as a Bulakenyo, I don't know, but I haven't been here before. I haven't been here in the museum only. But for the church, I always go here and check it, whether it's my birthday or some occasional events. So I hope I can check out the museum someday when it's already open. For the last part of this video, it is Marcello H. Del Pilar Shrine or the birthplace of Marcello H. Del Pilar. So, Marcello H. Del Pilar was born in Kupang, Bulacan on August 30, 1850 to cultured parents. He studied at the Colegio de San Jose and later at the University of Santo Tomas, where he finished his law course in 1880. He preached the gospel of work, self-respect, and human dignity. His mastery of Tagalog, his native language, enabled him to arouse the consciousness of the masses to the need for unity and sustained resistance against the Spanish tyrants. In 1882, Del Pilar founded the newspaper Jarian Tagalog to propagate democratic liberal ideas among the farmers and peasants. In 1888, he defended Jose Rizal's polemical writings by issuing a pamphlet against a priest attack, exhibiting his deadly wit and savage ridicule of clerical follies. In 1888, fleeing from clerical persecution, Del Pilar went to Spain, leaving his family behind. In, in December 1889, he succeeded Graciano Lopez Haina as editor of the Filipino reformist periodical La Solidaridad, Madrid. He promoted the objectives of the paper by contacting rival Spaniards who would side with the Filipino cause. So as you can see from my short video clip, I was actually raised here in San Nicolas, Bulacan, so I'm quite familiar with Marcelo H. Del Pilar. So, so for one thing that I know, the shrine of Marcelo H. Del Pilar now or today is actually already renovated. So there was a fire that was made back then, so they needed to renovate it. So it's kind of not the old house of Marcel H. Del Pilar, but the inside is actually the same from the old times. Also, before the door of the entrance of the Museum of Marcelo is made of woods, but now I saw that it's renovated to sliding door. So they actually made a lot of changes in the shrine because of what happened back then. So at the back of the shrine, where I don't have any video, but um, from my childhood days, I actually used to went here a lot to play. So um, I know a lot of things here. So uh, so at the back of the Banan Marcelo H. Del Pilar, there is an what do you call this? Like a funeral, what? Like I don't know what it's called, but it's dun nakalibing yung mga ninuno niya, like a grave, something like that, beside the museum. Like for example, from the video that I showed you is the front of shrine. So if you will get to enter this shrine, you will if you go to at the back, you will see a the grave and the museum at the back of Marcelo H. Del Pilar. So if you so I I entered once the museum back then, so I noticed that all the things, original things of Marcelo H. Del Pilar were still there, even though there was a fire back then, but they were able to save it for a long time. Apart from what I said before, it's also there was a picture that I showed you that uh, in the front of the shrine of Marcelo H. Del Pilar, you can see the La Solidaridad uh, wooden engrave there. So it was actually historical place to go. So if you want to visit Marcelo H. Del Pilar, it was actually near my house. So it's a good idea to visit this shrine because it has a lot of significance and history of Marcelo.